Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're taking on a seriously high-stakes decision that almost every homeowner is gonna face at some point. Picture this. You're mid-sip of your morning coffee, you look up and bam, you spot a dreaded watermark on the ceiling, or maybe a cracked tile outside. We're putting on our detective hats to investigate a massive question. Does your roof just need a simple fix, or are we talking about a total replacement here?
Our source material kicks off with this incredibly powerful idea. Your roof doesn't just sit there, it fights. And honestly, think about it, especially in places like Sydney. Every single day, your roof is battling the blazing summer sun that literally bleaches and bakes the materials. Then, out of nowhere, it has to stand firm against hammering southerly busters, coastal salt spray, and just massive sudden downpours. Over time, that relentless fight is going to leave some marks.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for decoding the damage today. 1. The roof's secret story. 2. Reading the surface clues. 3. When to just prepare. 4. The full replacement route. And 5. Looking beyond the price.
Section 1. The roof's secret story. Decoding all that wear and tear.
So every crack, rust spot, or seemingly innocent little watermark is actually your roof trying to tell you its story. And a lot of the time, there's a huge contrast between the headline, what you actually see, and the real story underneath. It's a classic iceberg situation. Our source shares this great anecdote about roofers out in Wollongong and the Blue Mountains. They'll show up, and the family is totally convinced it's just that one leaky corner or a couple of broken tiles. But once the pros peel back those layers, the real story unfolds. It's a slow, hidden spread of moisture, and the structural timber is dangerously soft. The surface was just a headline.
But hey, the reverse is totally true as well. Sometimes a roof that looks completely exhausted is actually rock solid underneath. The sources highlight cases in Sydney's inner west, where a roof looks incredibly weary from the street, but structurally, it's remarkably strong. In those cases, you don't need major surgery or some massive, terrifying bill. You just need a precise, knowledgeable touch in the right places, which saves a ton of money and a lot of sleepless nights.
Which brings us to Section 2, reading the surface clues, so we can identify the exact right approach.
So how do we evaluate these clues before we decide whether to patch things up or just tear the whole thing down? Let's quickly define our terms. Repairing is a highly focused approach. It simply means only the damaged part of the roof is treated, rather than the whole structure. The crucial thing to remember here is that a repair is all about isolating specific, targeted issues, while trusting that the rest of the roof is perfectly fine to keep protecting your home.
Moving right along to Section 3, when to just repair, the criteria for a targeted fix.
Let's look at the specific conditions that make pulling out the toolkit for a simple repair the absolute smartest option for your home. The first major clue? Age, specifically 10 to 15 years. If your roof is sitting in this window, you are generally in repair territory. Newer roofs are far less likely to have widespread systemic issues, so localized damage can usually be treated without condemning the entire structure.
And this brilliantly illustrates what a targeted fix actually looks like in practice. We're talking about things like replacing a few cracked tiles after a really heavy storm, or sealing an annoying little leak around a skylight or a chimney, maybe fixing some lifted or rusted metal flashing, or simply clearing and resealing a blocked gutter. See, minor, localized damage absolutely does not automatically mean you need a brand new roof. If the rest of it is sound, these specific fixes are highly efficient.
Oh, and there's also a really strategic reason to just repair: buying time for future renovations. If you're planning a major rebuild or a big extension in the next couple of years, targeted repairs are a fantastic strategy. Assuming there's no widespread water damage or structural sagging, a solid repair safely extends the roof's life until you're finally ready for that massive renovation project. It acts as a very smart financial bridge.
Okay, Section 4, the full replacement route, starting completely from scratch.
Now we have to shift gears to the much more intensive option, and we need to ask a pretty pivotal question. When does a repair become just a patch over a serious problem? Because honestly, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. Repairs should never be used to blindly cover out serious underlying deterioration. Ignoring the warning signs of a failing roof, that is going to cost you heavily in both money and stress down the line. So what exactly is a full replacement? Well, it's a total fresh start. It involves completely removing all the old sheets, the layers, the tiles, and building right back up from scratch using the basic underlying structure. Think of it as a hard reset for your home's primary defense system against the elements.
Now here are the grim warning signs that a full replacement is literally your only option. First, the roof is just near the end of its natural lifespan. Materials degrade, and eventually isolated repairs just aren't reliable anymore. Second, leaks keep returning. If you are playing a leaky game of whack-a-mole, chasing drips from one room to the next, that's a massive red flag for systemic failure. Third, widespread visible damage, like multiple broken tiles or huge spreading rust sections. And fourth, structural issues. If you have a sagging roofline or soft rotting timber, this isn't just maintenance anymore. Replacement becomes a matter of pure safety for you and your family.
Finally, Section 5, looking beyond the price to make that final decision. We've gathered all our clues, so let's synthesize everything and weigh that upfront cost against the actual long-term value. Think of this as your ultimate diagnostic cheat sheet. Let's run through it. Age, under 10 to 15 years, leans repair. End of lifespan leans replace. Damage spread, localized or isolated means repair. Widespread systemic issues mean replace. Structure, if it's solid, you can repair it, but if you have sagging or soft timber, you've got to replace it. And leak frequency. A single event usually just needs a repair, but if it keeps returning, it's time to start from scratch. This logic literally cuts right through the confusion.
Our source material acknowledges a universal truth that I think we can all relate to. We all love a cheap price tag. It is so tempting to just chase the absolute cheapest fix to make an immediate problem vanish. But as we've seen, long-term value matters so much more. Understanding the real story beneath the surface of your roof stops you from throwing good money after bad. Making an evidence-based choice saves you cash, and far more importantly, it saves your peace of mind.
Which leaves us with this final thought. Your roof is talking right now. What story is it telling you? I challenge you, our focused learners, to step outside today, look up, and really assess those clues. Are you just reading the superficial headlines, or are you brave enough to uncover the real story underneath? Don't wait for a storm to force your hand. Use what we talked about today to take control of your home's future. Thanks so much for joining me on this investigation, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.